We're far from the first to walk this earth, which means we're probably sharing space with those who came before us, whether we realize it or not. Most of the time, we don't give that a second thought, but in some places you feel it. The air gets heavier, the silence isn't really silent, and suddenly the past doesn't feel so distant. From eerie old mansions and abandoned asylums to cozy pubs hiding centuries of secrets, the world is full of places where ghosts don't just linger. They make their presence known. If you ever find yourself in one, maybe keep your back to the wall and make sure you're not alone. Here are 15 haunted locations you won't believe are real. Number 15. Chuuk Lagoon, Micronesia. What's scarier than a haunted graveyard? One that's 50 feet underwater and packed with ghosts of war. Welcome to Chuuk Lagoon, where the wreckage of a World War II battlefield sits eerily preserved beneath the waves. Once a heavily fortified Japanese naval base, this lagoon became a watery grave after a devastating U.S. air raid in 1944. Now, it's a diver's paradise. If your idea of paradise includes sunken warships, abandoned tanks, and the occasional gas mask staring back at you from the deep. Some divers claim to have seen more than just rusting metal down there. Figures moving in the shadows, whispers that don't belong to the current, and the unmistakable feeling of being watched. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, swimming through history's debris field isn't for the faint of heart. Just be careful what or who you brush up against. Number 14. Hotel Kurrajong, Australia. Haunted hotels are practically a travel genre at this point, but Hotel Kurrajong in Canberra earns its place on the list for one reason: a ghost with a resume. Former Prime Minister Ben Chifley called this grand old hotel home before dying of a heart attack in his room in 1951. Apparently, the man was so dedicated to his work that he never clocked out, even in death. Guests and staff alike report seeing his ghostly figure lingering in the halls, often pointing directly toward Parliament House as if reminding everyone to get back to work. Paranormal or just aggressively civic-minded? You decide. Either way, the hotel remains fully operational, with high ratings from guests, though some say their stays come with an extra presence they didn't pay for. If you like a side of political history with your hauntings, this might just be your super perfect getaway. Number 13. James M. Nederlander Theater, Chicago. Some theaters are known for their Broadway productions, others for their permanent cast of ghosts. The James M. Nederlander Theater, formerly the Iroquois and Oriental, has both. In 1903, a catastrophic fire claimed nearly 600 lives here, and despite multiple renovations and name changes, the spirits of the past never left. The most haunted spot? Death Alley, the back street where bodies were once stacked after the disaster. Shadowy figures have been seen lingering there, and those who dare to walk through alone report an overwhelming sense of dread. Inside the theater, disembodied whispers, flickering lights, and unexplained cold drafts suggest the show must go on, whether you buy a ticket or not. Chicago ghost tours love this place, but if you want to experience the spirits firsthand, maybe just attend a play. Just don't be surprised if the person sitting next to you wasn't there a second ago. Will you visit this place? Number 12. Haw Par Villa, Singapore. Some theme parks have thrilling roller coasters. This one has a whole section dedicated to eternal suffering. Welcome to Haw Par Villa, Singapore's answer to Disneyland. If Disneyland was designed by people who thought kids should be deeply traumatized. Built in the 1930s, this bizarre park is home to over 1,000 statues, all depicting scenes straight out of Chinese folklore, mythology, and nightmares. The most infamous attraction? The 10 Courts of Hell, a graphic exhibit showing sinners being boiled, sawed in half, and otherwise regretting their life choices in gruesome detail. But the horror doesn't end at wax sculptures. Visitors claim these figures move at night, and the chilling sound of tortured screams sometimes fills the air. Locals say it's just superstition, but if you go after dark and hear something that definitely wasn't a tour guide, well, good luck sleeping tonight. Number 11. Forsyth Park, Savannah. Savannah is basically one giant ghost town with modern plumbing, and Forsyth Park is one of its most haunted corners. You know that picturesque fountain you've seen on postcards? Yeah, it sits on top of a network of underground tunnels that once housed some seriously unsettling history. Back when the nearby Candler Hospital was still in operation, autopsies were performed in those tunnels, because nothing says romantic southern charm like a hidden morgue. People walking through the park have reported seeing shadowy figures that vanish into thin air, unexplained cold spots, and eerie whispers that seem to rise from the ground itself. Some say it's just the wind. Others, not so convinced. Whether you're here for the history, the greenery, or the chance to casually brush shoulders with a long-dead surgeon, one thing's for sure: this park is never really empty. Number 10. La Recoleta Cemetery, Argentina. Graveyards are pretty haunted, and that's not exactly breaking news, right? But La Recoleta Cemetery in Buenos Aires takes things to an entirely elite class level. This isn't just any old burial ground. It's a marble maze of crypts, housing some of Argentina's most powerful and famous figures. The problem? Some of them never left. Visitors report eerie whispers, sudden cold spots, and even sightings of ghostly aristocrats wandering between the mausoleums. One of the most chilling legends? The story of Rufina Cambaceres, a young woman mistakenly buried alive, whose tomb was later found mysteriously opened. Her restless spirit is said to still linger, forever trapped between life and death. Tourist attraction or ghostly VIP lounge? You decide. Just be careful where you step. Some of these spirits don't appreciate unexpected visitors. We say just one thing: Argentina is pretty big, so explore other spots instead of this. Number 9. Port Arthur, Tasmania. Prison tourism is a weird flex, but Port Arthur is no ordinary penitentiary. This inescapable penal colony housed Britain's worst offenders from 1833 to 1877, using methods that ranged from solitary confinement to mandatory church services, which, let's be honest, some probably found worse. Once abandoned, the site quickly gained a reputation, not just for its dark past, but for the spirits that seemed to linger. Today, Port Arthur is a historical site by day and ghost hunting central by night. Brave souls can explore the ruins, tour the nearby Isle of the Dead, where convicts were dumped into unmarked graves, or experience one of the eeriest ghost walks in Australia. Visitors have reported disembodied whispers, shadow figures, and that uneasy feeling of being watched. Whether you're into history or hauntings, Port Arthur is the place where the past refuses to stay buried. So be sure to stay away from things that feel a bit off. Number 8. Burg Eltz, Germany. If castles had Yelp reviews, Burg Eltz's ghosts would have some serious grievances. Dating back to 1157, this medieval fortress has stood the test of time, though not without collecting its fair share of eerie legends. The most tragic? The tale of Agnes, a noble woman betrothed to a suitor she despised. When she called off the engagement, allegedly because he sucked, he responded the way all well-adjusted men do, by laying siege to the castle. Agnes, refusing to play damsel in distress, grabbed a weapon and fought back, only to be killed in the process. Her spirit still lingers, especially in her former bedroom, where her pierced armor and battle axe remain on display. Visitors report sudden chills, whispers in corridors, and an overwhelming sense of sadness in her room. Whether it's history or heartbreak keeping her there, one thing's for sure: Agnes isn't leaving anytime soon. Number 7. Halifax Citadel, Canada. Nothing screams haunted like a 1749 military fortress with a history of war, death, and unexplained ghost sightings. The Halifax Citadel, perched above downtown Halifax, is one of Canada's most paranormally active spots, because apparently some soldiers never got the memo that their shift ended centuries ago. The most common ghosts? Phantom soldiers who casually stroll into rooms and then vanish. But they're not alone. Visitors have also reported an elderly woman staring out of windows and a ghostly young girl who has a habit of holding hands with unsuspecting tour guests, which is either adorable or terrifying, depending on your tolerance for spectral children. If you want to experience the hauntings firsthand, the Citadel offers nighttime ghost tours, complete with guides in period costumes, candlelit tunnels, and the distinct possibility that something might follow you home. Number 6. Borgvattnet Haunted Vicarage, Sweden. A haunted Swedish vicarage might not sound terrifying until you realize that this place has been creeping people out since 1927. It started with small disturbances, like the vicar's laundry being yanked off the line, but things escalated quickly. Rocking chairs move on their own, shadowy figures glide across walls, and guests hear phantom footsteps and distant music despite being in the middle of nowhere. And then there are the 3 crying women. No one knows exactly who they are, but their wailing echoes through the halls at night, making sleep optional. Borgvattnet now operates as a bed and breakfast for anyone willing to test their courage, because apparently some people enjoy being tormented by ghosts and Swedish winters. If you survive the night, the owners will even award you a certificate. Not for bravery, mind you, just for not running out screaming. Number 5. Lawang Sewu, Indonesia. With a name that translates to House of 1,000 Doors, you already know this place isn't playing around. Lawang Sewu started as a Grand Dutch colonial building in 1919, but by the time World War II hit, things took a dark turn. Under Japanese occupation, it became a torture prison, and let's just say the spirits never moved on. The basement, once used for executions, is particularly notorious. People have reported seeing shadow figures, hearing screams, and even feeling phantom hands grabbing at them in the dark. Paranormal investigators love this place, but locals? Not so much. They say entering Lawang Sewu at night is a guaranteed ticket to the supernatural. If you do decide to visit, just don't get lost. Some doors here lead to more than just another room. And if you don't want all that trouble, it's best to stay at home and watch Pokemon. Number 4. Crumlin Road Jail, Northern Ireland. Some prisons shut down. This one just switched to ghost management. Crumlin Road Jail, known as Europe's Alcatraz, housed 25,000 inmates over its 150-year run, including men, women, and even children. Executions were public, and bodies were conveniently buried within the prison walls, because nothing says justice like turning your workplace into a haunted graveyard. Though the prison officially closed in 1996, the dead didn't seem to get the memo. Visitors report phantom footsteps, shadowy figures on the walkways, and sudden cold spots that make even Belfast's weather feel warm. If you're feeling brave, you can take a ghost tour, or if you prefer mixing the supernatural with live entertainment, the jail also hosts concerts, dinners, and even weddings, because nothing says happily ever after like exchanging vows in a former execution site. Number 3. Gettysburg Battlefield, Pennsylvania. If any place deserves to be haunted, it's Gettysburg. Over 50,000 soldiers lost their lives here in just 3 days, many buried in shallow graves, or not buried at all. The result? One of the most paranormally active battlefields in the world. Visitors report seeing shadowy soldiers marching in formation, hearing ghostly drum beats and gunfire, and even spotting phantom reenactors who vanish into thin air. Some claim to have caught spirits on camera, including an apparition of Robert E. Lee, still inspecting the battlefield over a century later. Paranormal investigators love this place, But casual visitors? Let's just say a quiet walk through history might come with some unexpected company. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, Gettysburg makes one thing clear: not everyone who fought here left. Number 2. Eden Brown Estate, Nevis. Some places are haunted by tragedy. This one is haunted by the ultimate wedding disaster. The Eden Brown Estate was meant to be a gift from a wealthy businessman to his daughter on her wedding day. Instead, the groom and best man got into a mysterious duel. Both died, and the wedding never happened. The bride. She spent the rest of her life in mourning, alone on the estate. Today, her restless spirit is said to wander the ruins, perhaps still waiting for a ceremony that never came. Visitors report eerie whispers, ghostly figures, and a heavy, sorrowful presence that lingers in the air. Nevis is known for its beaches and resorts, but if you prefer your vacation with a side of haunted heartbreak, Eden Brown might be just the place for you. Just maybe don't bring a wedding date. The last one didn't make it. Life is short, so don't make bad choices. Number 1. Lizzie Borden House, USA. Some Airbnbs come with great views. Others come with axe-wielding ghost stories. Welcome to the Lizzie Borden House, the site of one of America's most infamous unsolved murders. In 1892, Andrew and Abby Borden were found brutally hacked to death, and their daughter Lizzie was accused but later acquitted. But did she really get away with murder? Visitors say the house never let go of its dark past. Guests staying overnight report footsteps echoing through empty halls, objects moving on their own, and even the occasional ghostly whisper. Some claim to have seen Lizzie herself, still lurking in the shadows. Want the real Borden experience? You can even sleep in the exact room where Abby met her fate. Well, sweet dreams. If you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.